soundtrack.
God bless, we're breaking these runs. Life too short to play it on speed run. Only get one, no option to rerun. Where Babylon goes, too high to reach them. Down to earth, stay grinding when storms come. Rat race, only one to run from. Better say cheese, but saying split in the funds. Living in the moment, I ain't worried about none. I'm straight chillin', back against the wall, too acquainted with the feeling. Like I lost the mark, find a way if I'm willing. Only fear God, not spreading this lost children. Price on my head, exported a few trillion. Doing side missions, whatever I'm feeling. I'm built different, cruise with no ceiling.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Luis.
And I'm Dennis.
Welcome to the LD show.
And we want to thank you all for joining us. Today we have a special guest. We have Mike Nunez in the house.
Mike Nunez in the
Thank
house.
you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And to all the viewers who have been watching us since episode 1, thank you so much. For those of you, if this is your first one, please go ahead and check out episode 1 through 4. Also hit that like button and subscribe. Like I said, this is our journey, but it's also yours. And welcome to our show today.
Please comment, guys. We would love to
Absolutely.
see your comment. Let us know about the show. Let us know about something you would want to hear. You know, and I'm excited. I'm excited about this show.
Absolutely.
We got Mike
We got Mike in the house. Yeah,
We got Mike in the house.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. So, how do we know Mike? How long we've known Mike? Oh my
Since
God.
we were kids, right?
Yeah,
Since we were kids.
We're kind of still our kids. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. At heart.
To Mike. To Mike.
To me, you're still kids.
Yeah, to Mike.
Yeah.
I'm still that goofy kid. But yeah, I've known Mike. We've known Mike. You're talking 20 plus years. You're talking when we were in high school. I mean, we've known Mike a while. He's
Been a while.
big. I mean, you're talking like top 5 impacts in my life. Huge role model. I mean, it's great to have him here. He's been in a couple of my films.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been.
That was fun.
And luckily, he
so
wasn't
made
a
up-
zombie.
Yeah. My films are online, guys, at Luis Mendez Jr. with JR on YouTube, and you can see all my films there. And you'll see Mike in zombie movies. You'll see him apocalyptic movies. You'll see him in all kinds of movies.
And we'll put it in the description on the episode. We'll put a link so you guys can go ahead and check it out.
Oh, definitely. He's a great actor. If Hollywood's out there hearing this guy,
This is the guy. This is the guy.
Mel Gibson, if you're out there, in the Resurrection movie.
yeah, Passion of the Christ 2.
The resurrection.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
the resurrection. We got someone right here, man. But yeah, Mike. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who you are, you know, how do you know us? And like,
Well, I know these guys from back when I was doing the youth group ministry. Worked with, I think, one of the best priests that the archdiocese
Padre
has.
Pedro.
Yeah, his
Padre
name is
Pedro.
Padre Pedro.
Shout out to Padre Pedro.
And
Garcia.
he got me started on working with the youth. And I'll tell you, it was one of the last things I wanted to do was work with a bunch of kids at the, how should I say this?
From Homestead.
A little troubled background, you know. But everything worked out. I've seen guys like you two guys, rough upbringings, and kind of the guys and kind of the people, you and many other kids, that society had already marked them out as, oh, these guys are not going to go anywhere. And it's a beautiful thing to witness, to see how you guys have grown, what you've grown into. It made it worthwhile. And I've sat back and watched you guys grow, what you've done. It's like a proud daddy of I'm going to say about over 100 people. So
That's all. I think more.
Oh,
could be.
yeah.
yeah, could be.
I remember being in youth group and we start cracking jokes. He'll look at us, smack in the head, and then he'll crack his joke and then go back to teaching.
Yeah, it's a growing experience. For me as much as it was for you guys. Putting lessons together, and going out and doing the research, and then applying it in the classrooms and watching you guys slowly. It was a slow process, but watching you guys apply it to your own life. Again, I don't know what to say. It's if if you've never taught, and those people that are out there that actually are doing it, don't give up, don't stop. Sometimes it can get rough. The kids can make it difficult, but the reward at the end, Jesus
Amen.
makes it worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah,
Big time, big time.
And
big
you
time.
grew up in Homestead, South Dade, right? Correct?
yeah, yeah.
How was it back when you were growing up? How was it?
Not that different. The only difference that I see in life and with the youth is the technology, but uh, human nature is the same. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with somebody about that. But growing up in Homestead, there were more activities outside. Um, the culture of church and family were a little stronger than today.
I agree.
Well, I'm
With
gonna
you.
say a lot stronger than today.
Lots wrong.
And I feel for today's kids, today's future. It's rough out there, especially for believers, kids that you probably come from a Christian background, your whole family, and it's difficult. It was difficult for me growing up, being as close as I was to my family and our faith, and then going out and being in the world. Well, you were ridiculed, and the other kids made fun of you. They'd make you go to. I remember being in the cafeteria, and me and some of my cousins were saying grace. You do sign the cross. You say thank you, God, for the food. And it was a shocking experience because being where I came from, your own family was your best friends. Those are the only people you grew up with. Those are the only people you knew. We used to migrate and move around. So then when we'd come to these schools and do it in public and watching other kids your age starting laughing at you and what are you doing? Why are you scratching your face and stuff like that? It was a kind of a culture shock when we finally settled after migrating for so long. So it was difficult then, and I can just imagine how difficult it is now.
And I try to instill that in my daughters now. So even when we go to restaurants, I'm like, all right, let's pray, And I know
Yeah.
at first they felt kind of out of place, but I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter who's around you. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's God and God only, right? And now they're used to it now,
Good. Again, it paid off.
Oh,
So-
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, definitely,
So,
definitely.
Louis, you remember when I used to say in the classes, it's easy to be in this classroom, to be in here in the youth group, and for us to talk about God, because there's so many of you guys here talking about the same thing, And then I used to make the challenge when, at the end of the our get-togethers, I don't call them classes because we used to get together, and at the end, as you guys are all going home, I don't know if you remember that I used to say, it's easy to talk about God and praise Him here, but it's out there, and I would challenge is that out there is where you got to live your faith, and I remember a lot of kids they wouldn't say anything when something. I'd look around at the class and I'd see a lot of little heads shaking. No, I don't know about that, but I said many of them are. I've run into some of them, and many of them are still doing it. So
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
thank God.
Definitely. I remember you mentioned about the youth. I remember one time we did an activity with you where you took us to a room. It was a room with all the donations and stuff like that. So you have like hundreds of shirts and coats and pants hanging, and everybody walked through there, right? Everybody, the whole class, like I think it was like 13, 14 of us that day. And we walked through, and you were like, all right, guys, you guys can have whatever you want. Grab anything off the rack, whatever you want. And nobody grabbed anything. Nobody wanted any of those. And we came back to sit down and stuff like that. And you were explaining on like, why don't you guys want any of these clothes? I don't understand, this and that. And people were like, I ain't gonna wear no old shirt, or I ain't gonna wear no beat up shirt or donated shirt, this and that. And you were like, actually, in giving, especially to God, in giving, a lot of people donate a lot of things. And he goes, and you went, you think the people who donated those things, you think they donated their best clothes, or do you think they donated whatever they didn't want? And a lot of them stayed like, dang, like, they put themselves in like, I don't even want those clothes. And you were like, how many people in here is willing to donate their favorite clothes, their favorite shirt, their favorite pants, their favorite shoes? And nobody, everybody was like, those are mine. And it was something like, well, if you can't donate your best and you don't even want to wear those clothes, remember when you try to help out and when you donate things, think about, don't give away what you don't want because someone else might not want it either. Give away the best you have. Give away something that's worth something to you. That's actually giving.
Yeah.
If you're just like throwing away trash, that's not really giving.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, it
it's
may
not
help
really giving.
somebody, but it's not.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it's gonna, but you guys won't even wear it. Not you, but the classroom, nobody wanted not even one shirt. You know what I mean? And that's all. I mean, look, 20 plus years later, I still remember that.
Good.
Because it makes me think about like, is this trash that I'm donating, or is this something good that somebody could use? When you're donating anything to Salvation Army, is this trash? Like, can this go to the dump, or can I donate? Can someone really use this?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been carrying that from that example. I've been carrying it with me ever since.
I think that was based on the reading of Christ, where he says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink, and so on and so forth. And he said, when you do this to the least of my little ones, you're doing it to me. And that's what I brought up. That was what brought up that that class that day was, so if what we're giving from the heart and you want to give, you need to know who you're giving it to. You're not giving it to a homeless person. Mother Teresa would say that when she goes out and sees the homeless or the people that society has already thrown away, you're not seeing that person. What you should be seeing is Jesus in disguise as a homeless person, as somebody who's begging. You never know who you're going to give it to. So
Yeah.
That's where that came from.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think that's how I carry myself. Like sometimes I have, I give something to the homeless guy or stuff like that. And sometimes they like look at me and they give me a wink and I'm like, Jesus
is that you?
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
You never know. So I drive away. I'm like, hey, I did what I could.
And I do believe do it from the heart.
Yeah,
Don't just
definitely.
do it because you're afraid, because you have fear of God. Do it from the heart. Do it because you want to, but it's coming from the heart, not because you have fear in God.
Well, there's two types of fears.
You should, but
There's the fear to offend, not fear of his punishment.
Exactly.
More like, I don't want to fail you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to do as much as I can, an example that you set for us. That's the fear.
Yeah.
It's like letting our parents down or something is the fear.
But you made a valid point.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there are individuals who they just do it because like, well, it's the right thing to do, because if not, some of them are like, oh, I'm going to be condemned. I'm like, no.
Yeah. But so tell us a little bit about what you do, Mike. What do you do now? Like what do you do now? As in, like, you used to run the youth group, so what do you dedicate yourself now to and things like that?
I've slowed down. For years, even when I was doing the youth group, I used to have what I call my side job. My real job was serving God, but the job that paid the bills was always working with companies that dealt with farming, nurseries, fertilizer, stuff like that, farming supplies. I'm still doing that. So
but like ministry wise, like
ministry wise,
with your grandchildren and stuff like that. Like,
now I try to teach my grandchildren. It was easier when they were smaller. Now they're teenagers, and here we go again.
They know more than us, right?
They think they know enough. So I think to myself, here's another batch, another group of kids that I got to teach. But it seems a little bit more difficult to teach your own family than it is other kids. Your grandpa, what do you know? It's like, but for some reason, some of the things that we talked about and that we share, especially, I won't mention the names of the kids, but
Yeah, of course.
there's one of them really takes to what I'm saying to him. It's like he hangs on every word. I can see it in his eyes when, like, about Saint Michael, or the angels are. I don't know if you remember, either one of you, going back when I was describing Christ. Everybody sees him like this European painting that you see all over the place. A frail and very fine looking skinny guy. And I used to describe or ask the kids, like, do you know what he did for a living? To pay the bills like I did. His ministry was to be Christ. I said, but he was a carpenter. No power tools. Everything were hand tools. I go, this guy had to go out and pick up a log. And if you guys have ever cut down a tree and just pick up a small, doesn't have to be a big piece, a 4-foot piece of a tree.
Yeah.
That thing weighs a ton.
Yeah.
So you picture him going out, picking up a big old piece of this log, carrying it all the way back and turn it into something.
So like a table and chair.
A table or whatever it is, farming equipment. Everything was done with his hands, and this is hard work. So I picture him like a big old construction guy,
Yeah, I guess Da Vinci.
He
He
was way off.
Paint a carpenter.
and you think about this, and you're like, well, this man was able to carry, I'm going to say, and I might be wrong, but I mean, a very, 200-pound wooden cross.
Wow. Quarter mile.
A little frail man was not going to do that.
Yeah. The guy in the painting wouldn't be.
It was not to do that. So you're carrying this big old cross, and they're beating on you.
Yeah.
So
most people.
the strength, he had physical strength along with the strength of the love that he had for us combined.
Yeah.
But I this is how I see Christ, and this is how I explain it to my grandsons. Don't think of him as a little frail guy. He was he had to be pretty buff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, put ourselves in his shoes to take what he took and still carry the cross and be kicked, spit, hit with rocks, beaten while carrying the cross. Yeah, I probably would have made it 10 steps. It's like going through all that. It's like to be able to still carry it all the way up the mountain through all that and through all he had been through. Oh my God.
And you think about it, for the audience don't know, when I used to teach class, I used a lot of humor, a lot of comedy. I wasn't your typical teacher.
You're not.
So I would imagine somebody else trying to take his place, and you're gonna get scourged, locked to a pole, and then they're gonna start hitting you, like in the movie The Passion.
Yeah.
And like I used to teach in class, and I think by the third hit, somebody gets up. No, I'm good. Find someone else. Yeah. So
definitely. The way that the skin came off, the way he hit him.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the tools they were using. They had sharp edges, right? And they would be jagged, so it would go into the skin and then rip out.
People get paper cuts and
that's you right there. Paper cut.
So I'm
door
out.
jam.
Yeah. So this is what and I believe, in my opinion, as a teacher, as an old teacher, was like, be realistic. And this is probably what the turnoff is to a lot of young kids. It's we seen the pictures, we know what it is. No. And like I used to tell you guys,
it's a lot more than that.
Society and all the society wants to do is be anti-authority. They don't want nobody to tell them what to do. They want to be rebellious. There was nobody more rebellious than Christ back then.
Rebellious of the truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of the truth.
Yeah. So
he told it like it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the young people, because I remember finding myself in those shoes. They have a lot of energy. They just don't know where to direct it. And this world, almost like if it tries to catch them first, and it's like, look, direct your energy towards this, which is usually the wrong way. And it gets through us through everything, television, music, our friends, everywhere. And it's like, man, it's like you everything wrong, or the wrong stuff are coming at you at 10 different directions, and like Christ and your family's coming at you at one. So it's like a big old menu, and they don't understand, like, oh, I can order from all these things, and we're telling them no, like, just this. And that's why I become rebellious, because they see all the choices in the world, the free will. They're like, man, we could do whatever we want, and it's like, that's if you really, once, I guess people have to really understand what it is to follow Christ, and once that is completely understood, you'll understand that it's the complete opposite of who we are, and why we're here.
And I think because now information is at the grasp of their hands, right? So basically, they have technology, they have their computers, they have their laptops, they have their tablets, their phones. So society's coming at them and saying, "Oh yeah, it did happen. Yeah, Christ is real, or yeah, this is the Bible, but it's like this. It's not what they're telling you at church. It's not how the Bible's saying it. It's really like this, which it's not, right? We're told in there that there's going to be a lot of false prophecy. There's going to be a lot of false teachings, and I believe the culture nowadays and society is grabbing onto technology to our children, and our children are, they're hurting because they're following society instead of following the truth, right?
Yeah. AI is out there, and just the other day I saw something that was saying maybe sin wasn't really bad. Maybe this and that, and they were supposed to be
I
like
saw that.
preachers or something.
I
And
saw that.
it was an AI, so it's out there.
Have you seen that? I saw
No, I
that.
haven't seen it.
So
I'm not
AI
gonna
made
do it.
videos of like different preachers
Mhm.
in different churches, and he was repeating the same stuff, and they were all repeating maybe sin it wasn't the wrong thing, right?
Yeah,
And it's like they kept saying it, but it looked like different locations, and
Mhm.
so I'm like, the masses that are looking at this and watching this, and imagine the people who are not informed of, like, this is AI.
Or they're on the ledge. Should I believe? Should I
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Now
I got you.
AI is creating those.
No,
It's
yeah.
like,
Maybe that's why we got to
wow.
be careful with what we see. Just open the book. Open the book. Open
that's
the book.
right. That's
Yeah.
You
right.
want to know the truth? Just open the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I'll go back to your question.
Hmm.
I grew up in the as a kid in the late '70s, teen in the '80s. Um, and I grew up as a small kid. I growing up in the church, doing everything in the church. I was an altar boy. Uh, worked my way up to your apprentice altar boy. The altar boy, or somebody who serves on the
Mhm.
at the altar. And I'd seen enough to where at one point, I think I was around 9. I remember going and talking to the priest of that time, Father Lopez, and I told him I wanted to be a priest. And it's at some point in my life, I go, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Um, the priest told me, you know what, if you truly convinced and you want to continue doing this and you really want to, when you're about 18, we'll talk about it, about going seminary. And it seems like and I'm going to call him as it is, the enemy heard that, and um, you want to talk about bullying around in the neighborhood where I grew up. Um, and all of a sudden, youth and my parents would send me to go get the mail at 9, and I've got 16-year-olds, at least 4 or 5 between. I'm like 14 to 16, maybe 17, and took a good butt whooping at least twice a week, and it pushed you. This went on for a while, and it was a little difficult also with, again, my family, especially my dad. We don't want you. We're not. You can't be out there fighting. You can't do this, and basically telling me don't fight or don't defend yourself. In other words, so if I did, I was stuck in the crossroads of, do I do the best I can to fight these people off, or go home and get spanked because I defended myself. So I was stuck there. And after a few years down the road, here I am getting close to the age where the priest tell me, if you're ready and you want to continue this, then we can talk. Uh, after a while of that, um, my I don't want to say that my faith left me. But I can see where a lot of teens and a lot of kids fall away. We tell them wherever you are, there he is. Wherever you know, he's everywhere. Well, as a kid, I used to sit there and go, you can jump in here anytime soon. I'm covering my face and I'm getting kicked and punched and stuff. And at one time I said, now would be good, and it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So I think at some time, at one point in my life when I got about 14, I'd had enough from both being bullied and being told not to fight back. There was little anger issues there. Go, well, if you're not going to jump in here, I'm going to do it myself. Not that I don't believe in you. I just believe that you can be everywhere at the same time. Yeah. And growing up in a neighborhood like that, and people, they call it the hood. I grew up in a place where sometimes even the police wouldn't go in there. There's emergencies unless 4 or 5 police cars went in there. One single car would not go in there. Mm-hmm. And that's not a very good place for a 9-year-old. So I think we talked about this when I was, teaching one of these kids, wanting you guys to understand it. I've been where you're at, so. But yeah, it's part of what you're asking me. I can understand and I can relate to some of these kids, especially in today's world. The bullying, some kids even coming in suicide. That breaks my heart when I hear that. It's a terrible thing to go through. And I believe that's a tool that the enemy uses to keep kids from going to God. So bullying one hand, technology in the other. No matter where a child tries to turn, he's going to be there to cut you off from going to Christ.
I know that when the enemy sees that God is getting a stronghold in you, the enemy is going to go in there and try to dig you out and pull you out. And that's when you have to have that faith and just, keep on tugging along and be like, nope. And it's going to be hard. We are going to fall. We're going to stumble. But we have to we need to have faith and we got to keep going with it. And I learned a little bit the hard way, but I kept going. I kept pushing,
I think we all learned the hard way. I don't think anybody, even the saints, everything was the hard way.
That's the only way to get there. Yeah. What do they call it, Mike? The narrow road?
Yep.
And compared to the wide road, most people are on.
I mean, look at Moses. Moses got mad and he kicked the rock, right?
Yeah.
I definitely, I think that, as I get older, I'm starting to see more and more that, like the resistance or the suffering that we go through to not bend to the world or not bend to the evil one is where you build your strength. And I'm starting to see that more in like relating it to like, say for instance, like lifting weights. Mm-hmm. Like lifting weights, as you're lifting, it's hard, it's painful, it's sacrifice, it's suffering, but you build on that. For instance, you want to be a marathon runner, you can't build on the couch. You have to run, you have to suffer, you have to sacrifice. And the spiritual world is kind of the same thing. When you feel that heat, when you feel him coming, when you feel him attacking you, you have to be like, all right, it's like benching. This is the moment. Like, this is where I build my resistance. This is where I get stronger. And it's kind of true because when you do make it to the other side, you're like, man, like I made it. And sometimes he'll try the same thing again and you just brush it off. But you always know he's going to come up with some new technique, a new way. And when you see it coming, when you see it recognized, you're like, oh, that's the new way. I see it. Yeah. Like I'm very like observant in that. Like when everything is calm, everything is quiet, I'm getting close to God. I'm praying all the time. I'm going to adoration. I'm going to church. I'm talking to my friends about God. And I look over my shoulder and I'm like, he's coming somehow, some way. And then 2-3 days later, boom, he starts sneaking in and through people or like things that start happening in your life, problems and this and that. And you're like, oh, this is how you're coming this time. It's like the next test and the next test and the next test. But he sees this guy's getting too close to God. This guy's getting too comfortable. So he starts to, light the fire.
He
You
knows
just
your
have to-
weakness.
He knows it. He studies you for a couple of days. He's like, okay,
He
all right.
believes in you.
Let me
He
remind him of
believes you're
this.
gonna fail.
Let me remind him of this. Let me,
Yeah.
this and that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't take breaks. You could 3 days, like you don't hear nothing, and all of a sudden you're like, dang, this guy again. And it's something where like we're gonna deal with it our whole lives, but the more strength, spiritual strength that we build, the more vigilant we are when he's coming. When someone's like getting an attitude with us and this and that, for us to recognize,
Mhm.
I know who this is. I can hear him. I guess the more we have to work on that and understand that's why it's happening.
And you said it right. One of the things that God gave us. I mean, one of the things they left for us was prayer. Right. Prayer is one of the strongest things that we can use against the enemy.
Oh, definitely.
And a lot of people forget this. Like prayer will help you. It is that part. It is what's gonna make you stronger. It's gonna harden you, and it's gonna make you take those hits and then keep on going. Right.
Exactly. When back when I used to teach class, with the help, the prayer, with the Holy Spirit, he's it's and you have to hold on to them. But I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to tell you, know when you're being played.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? The devil's going to come at you. You're coming here, you're learning, you're hearing about God. It's making sense to you now. But when you go out that door, he's going to come after you. He's sitting there waiting, just waiting for you to walk out that door, and he's going to walk with you. And there's a whole group of you guys. You got friends that aren't here. You got friends that aren't necessarily going in the same direction as you. But through those friends, he's going to come after you.
Oh yeah.
And I used to say, know when you're being played. And the only way that you can be strong enough to know that is what you said, through the prayer.
Prayer. Yep.
So,
Oh, definitely. I mean, we still deal with that on a day-to-day basis with like customers, people we run into at the store.
oh yeah.
It's like
when you're driving,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't know how many times I pray while
the
I'm driving.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I remember, and I'm like, you know what? I asked for patience, and this is it right here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember with driving. I used to get like that. I don't get like that anymore. I don't know. Like something clicked in my mind with like bad drivers or people who cut me off or people who are like really angry. I don't even look at them anymore. But I used to get angry just like everybody else, like road rage. But now it's almost, I don't know why. Maybe because now I envision them as like grown children,
Mm-hmm.
and like it doesn't bother me no more. It's like they did a mistake, and now I'm like, oh my god, this guy, or you could see they're trying to like they're looking at me, and I'm like, dude, we're grown people. We don't have time for this. Like go to work. I'm going to work too. You know what I mean? Like I just don't have the patience to like sit there and argue with you and like try to, I don't know. I've outgrown that. I've noticed that about road rage. I don't watch me next week. Huh? but in reality, I get it all the time where people make mistakes and all the time. And maybe because I'm used to it in Miami, how people drive here.
Oh man,
It's like after 100 mistakes, you're like, all right, I give up arguing with these people, getting mad at them and frustrated.
I mean, they can't even hear you anyways, right? You're
I
yelling
see
at
them.
yourself in the car.
Yeah, I see people do crazy stuff, and I no longer get mad because I'm so used to the craziness. I'm so used to how they drive. Like that's how bad it is. It's like, oh, you almost hit me. Just a Tuesday. Like I'm so used to it. Somebody else would be like, oh, blah 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 blah. Like I don't even like. Nah, man.
Just gotta give them the thumbs up.
Yeah. Sometimes I smile at them, and their face is like, what?
I don't know. I used to get pretty upset. I look more like a heavy metal video, music video.
If TikTok was out back then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's crazy how like we remember that world without social media,
Mm-hmm.
and like because I think about that all the time when we see like funny videos or like accidents on videos, and things that got caught on video, right? On the phones usually. You could watch, I think they said on YouTube, there's like over if you sat there and watched every video on YouTube today, I think it was like 200 and something years. That's how much content is on there. Like that's how like if you sat and watched everything. I'm thinking about, all right, imagine and you go back just a couple years or the last 100 years, how many things haven't got caught on video? How many things are happening out there that haven't got caught? Because these things got caught on video. What about the stuff that haven't? So
It's funny because my daughters told me that they're like, Dad, you know, the only reason why nothing happened during your generation because we couldn't record you guys.
Well, you know what they said about Jesus? Remember what they said? If we wrote down everything Christ did, there wouldn't be enough books in the world to
To fill 'em.
fill them.
yeah.
And you're saying that this about little short videos in a short time that they've been out. So that kind of complements that, you know, what John said back then.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I could just imagine.
If you could tell the youth today something, you know, spiritually, what would you tell them?
Spiritually, you said it already, both of you. Pray. Know when you're getting played, you know, and stick to the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Family's everything.
Yeah. What do you see on, like, you said that the youth these days are different, right? The youth these days are different. How do you approach it from how you approached us to how you approach the youth of today when you're trying to send the same message, but then now you have to adapt. But now you have the experience of going through us, experience of life. How do you approach it now? To this generation.
To this generation,
Yeah.
kind of the same way I'm dealing with my grandkids. And I'm using the same tactic, knowing when you're being played. Like in today's world, we have to watch. I have small grandkids. We have to be vigilant on what they're watching on TV because what seems to be friendly for children isn't.
With that hidden content.
Is it?
Yeah, no,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes. And he's out there. So
Oh, yeah.
in order for me to approach these kids, I have to tell them about the technology and how it's just another tool that the enemy uses.
Yeah.
And the scary part is that now the enemy and all his minions now have access to our children through technology.
Yep.
So that's the only channel that you can probably reach them. But again, it's part of that human nature. Human nature has not changed.
I think that's even worse than back then because you know how they're saying, like, as the years go by, parents spend less and less time with their children. And back then, let's just say 50 years ago, where usually like the moms would be like a stay-at-home mom and she'll spend most of the time at home with her child or her children. And whatever the mom taught them, that would be like their morals and principles. And now that they spend more time in school, right? A lot of the parents work more now. Both parents are working. It's gone from 8 to 12-hour shifts now. Like, now it's a lot harder. So not only do your kids not spend enough time with you now you throw in the technology. So it's like, now it's like on top of like what we, you know, let me give you an example. Like your daughters, when they were younger, 2004, 2005, where like parents, it started being when parents had to spend a lot less time with their kids, but technology was just coming in. And now it's like less time with their parents and technology stacked on top. And the parents now 2-3 jobs now because of how it is, how they, you know, the economy is and stuff like that. So it's like little by little.
Sometimes it looks like it's by design.
Yeah. No, I believe it is.
I believe
100%.
100%.
100%.
I grew up, like I said, we used to migrate and the whole family moved as a whole unit. I'm not talking about mom, dad, myself, sister. I'm talking about uncles, cousins, family. We moved. We're like kind of like gypsies. Believe it or not, we would move about 200 plus people from one state to another all at one time. I'm pretty sure that
My parents went through that.
The local towns
Yep.
back then, you're seeing all these trucks and all these people, and they're like, you know. But if it was in the farming areas, it was no surprise. But when you're having to cross these state lines, I'm pretty sure it was kind of scary to them. But going back to the family unit, it was like a village. If I got in trouble and I did something that I wasn't supposed to, it didn't necessarily have to be my mom or my dad. My uncles or my older cousins would I'd get in trouble with them, and I had to respect them because they were older than me. Um, our grandparents were like almost like the chiefs of the
Oh
village.
yeah.
Mm.
So that has disappeared completely. Um, the times that I see even today is like even if the kids are at home with you, I've seen families. The whole family can be home,
Yeah.
but everybody is either on their phone or the small ones are watching TV, but they're not. There's the dialogue isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It's like um, dad will ask the son, "How was your day?" But he's saying it with the phone in his hand, and then the child's got either a switch or a tablet or something in their hand. You go, "Oh, it was fine," and I see that, and I just I've places I go and things I see, and that's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary to see.
No, yeah, definitely. The family nucleus or the core of how it used to be for thousands of years has fallen apart.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think that it's working, or think that in the direction that it's going is working, but it's not. It's the complete opposite. You
Right.
tear a family apart. It's like a football team that's everybody's got different agendas.
Yep.
The quarterback wants to catch the ball too, or the quarterback wants to run or block, where he has his own job, and the family's
Yeah.
heading in all different directions. But but yeah, I mean, anything else for now that you would like to tell us, Mike, before
Throw some wisdom on us.
any last words of wisdom that you have for us and for the new generations out there
Oh, the new generation.
that are watching this? This is
Just
the new
keep
type of
praying. And
ministry.
if you don't know how to pray, ask, and we'll help you. Somehow we'll figure out how to help you.
Absolutely.
You can also use technology for that. It can be used for good as well.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to be you. If you feel a little the little nudge inside of you that I want to know more about God. I want to know a little something because I see what's happening. That's the Holy Spirit calling you.
Yeah.
That's Christ calling you. He says, "You didn't choose me. I have chosen you, and I've called you by your name." So you've
Oh,
been
definitely.
called. Everybody's been called. So if you have a little break in that technology, or if you're feeling alone, reach out. Reach out to him. He will be there.
Oh,
Awesome.
definitely.
Yep.
Anything else? you wanna say?
No, like we just said, prayer. I really believe prayer is like one of the strongest things we need to do, and I think our society needs to lean more on prayer and on God. And in the household, and when it comes to the nucleus, I think maybe the family should start in the dining room, right? Start having dinner back at the dining table, not on the couch, not on your phone. Phones away, dining table. Talk. Hey, how was your day? Are you struggling with something? Hey, let's plan something. Let's do something this weekend together as a family. Put the phones away. Let's talk. Is there something bothering you? How can I help you? Ask those questions, but
Yeah.
put the technology away.
Yeah. Definitely. I've seen something today, not today, but I've seen something in the last couple of weeks where actually people are coming back to God. Now these days, I guess because they're figuring out a lot of the new generations, it's been like an explosion of people returning back to the church, returning back to Christ, because they're starting to figure out that just a godless world out there. You have
Yep.
no direction. You have like a hole that you can't fill. None of the material stuff, none of your phones, nothing. And it's like they hit 18, 19, 20 years old and they're like, is this what life's about? Is this what it is? Because at least we started off with it. But a lot of people didn't even start off with it. So they end up with like,
They still feel an emptiness.
yeah, they're
Emptiness
like, well,
gone.
what's
We
happening
need
here?
God.
So I started seeing that the numbers, they were showing all the numbers around the world globally, like a lot of like thousands more, because they have all the stats from the years before, and like thousands more being baptized, thousands more attending mass.
Good.
It's a huge explosion of the new generations that are starting to come back, or they're searching, like you said, they felt
Mhm.
that tug,
Yeah.
and they put their phones down, and that's we have the new saint that just came in, Carlos, what was his name?
Acunas.
Yeah,
The young.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
yeah,
the
yeah.
young
I
kid.
mean, it's something
Yep.
where I
I read his story.
I could just imagine like the millions of new generation youth that got impacted by him. around the world, and still, his
He found
his
great
teachings.
value in the Eucharist, and then
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
he was in the right path. Now he's a saint.
Oh, definitely. All right, guys. Well, that's the end for today.
Thank you for
And Barbara?
watching, everybody.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to like, please, and subscribe. Like I said, this show is more of ours, and it's also yours. Our journey is your journey, And if any way you can assist us, put it in the comments, and we'll listen to you. We'll even reach right back out to you.
Oh, definitely, guys. Well, thank you again. This is Luis.
And this is Dennis.
And thank you. We'll see you on the next episode.
Take care, y'all.
Thank you.
Take care.
Soundtrack.